Of course, the first thing is I'm gonna show you my actual sales numbers, profit, pretty much everything. I launched my first ever product in this brand around 6 weeks ago on Amazon. These are my numbers. For the first actual month, we did around 8.8K in sales, netting 4K in profit. So you can see the margins are really high, and this is $1,000 into advertising, so Amazon PPC. But just to be transparent, I'm not a master of PPC yet. So this is pretty much money burnt. And you can see in the first 2 weeks of November, we actually did 5.6K in sales and we dumped 2K into ads. So you can see I'm really playing around here, just throwing money away and burning it just so I can learn PPC, especially for this first product. And it's very important to know you're not just gonna launch a brand and become a millionaire overnight. This is me showing you raw, transparent numbers, and we are in the green. We are still in the green and I'm burning money on ads. So if you guys want to actually see my sales dashboard, again, here it is, 30 days, 10/15 to 11/15, we did 10K in sales. Average order value is $70 because that's obviously the price of the product. If you guys don't believe that that's my brand, I'm gonna straight up show you it. I feel like 99% of the people in the space will not show you the brand they're building. I've invested over $30,000 just to launch this brand in itself. Here it is. You can see it, you can open it up on Amazon. You could buy a unit if you want to, but this is actually my brand. All the receipts are over here. I spent months actually building this. So let's actually get into how you can launch a passion project, something that you actually use and that you love to build. Because at the end of the day, if you're not building something that you love and that you're passionate about, you're not gonna wanna put the work and the time into it. And that's just the pleasure. That's just one of the benefits actually of building a brand that you love, that you're gonna enjoy it every single day, and you're actually gonna make a shit ton of money from it. So step number one is simply just finding the product. This is the most important part, and this is the biggest part that people fuck up on. You need to think about what you don't like in the world when you're creating this product. You need to ask yourself, maybe what's a good product that you already use, but maybe it's just not good enough. Maybe you can improve it. Maybe there's a movement going around that's gaining steam and becoming very popular, but it just doesn't make sense to you. Because over here, the counterculture, this can be fucking amazing. If you go against a huge movement and you come out and say, hey, this is BS, I don't like this, chances are if there's something you don't like, there is an entire community of people who also dislike it. Now, this can be an improvement, again, on something that you already use, or it can be something fully unique. Maybe you've created it yourself, or maybe you just use this every single day. And then at the end of the day, it just really comes down to there's a problem and you're going to create a solution to that problem, as long as it improves other people's lives. And again, if it's improving your life, it can improve other people's lives as well. A big thing that people get wrong when they try to find their product is they overcomplicate things. They try to look at pricing first thing, but that's wrong. You need to look at something that one, you enjoy, and two, that actually solves a problem and makes a difference. Because if you're not improving something, then no one's gonna pick you. If you don't have a meaning, then no one gives a shit about you or your brand, because it's all about the customer. And I know I wrote this here that you can do something unique, but probably not, to be honest. There's a golden rule that I read every single day, and it's something that my mentor told me last year. Good artists copy, but great artists steal. And I want you to remember that. When we move into step number two, this is about actually branding that product. So you found something, you found an improvement, you know what product you want to launch, now you have to brand it. And the biggest thing that people get wrong with branding is they build something cool, they love it, it's their brand, it's their baby. And it's so easy to talk about. You could talk about the features, the benefits, what it does, all the different things, how it's stronger and how it's third-party tested, and the competition's maybe made in China and you manufactured in the States. But honestly, this is just the wrong approach, because nobody actually cares about the brand and why the brand's so good. They care about what it does for them. Because let me actually show you this over here. This is the exact chart that actually makes a customer buy. It's all psychology at the end of the day. Because this character right over here, this is gonna be your customer, and then the guide over here is gonna be your brand. So the customer is gonna have a problem, obviously. And then they're going to see your brand. And your brand's job is to give them the plan and the roadmap that will actually bring them over here to solve this problem so they can get rid of it. And the way you do that is by a story. Storytelling is the key when you're building a brand, because at the end of the day, it's a solution to their problem, And all that matters is the journey, because they are the center of their own life. Everybody is the most important person. They don't care about you or your brand. They care about how the brand makes them feel about themselves. But obviously, when we find this product and when we build this brand, we can't just blindly do it as well. We do have to look at actual data. The way we do that, and I could go fully in depth on this in another video because it's an extensive process, but we use Amazon Helium 10. We use exploding topics to identify trends, and sometimes we can use Calo data, but when we use Calo data, essentially it pulls from TikTok's trending products. We want to look for something that's gaining steam, but that's not already taken its full position and dominated the marketplace. This is where your brand positioning will come in place. For example, you can launch a testosterone booster for men above the age of 50, or you can launch a testosterone booster for 18-year-old boys who just are lazy in the gym. Positioning is very key, especially when you're doing keyword research. You have to know exactly who your target demographic is. You have to know your ICP to a T. You have to know what color toothbrush they use when they brush their teeth in the morning, what their favorite flavor of cereal is. You have to know everything about them, every single detail. And that is how you make them actually feel convinced to buy, as if they know that you're going to take them where they want to go. And once you get that far and you have the product and you have the brand and everything is set in place, the next step is going to be actually manufacturing and getting this product created. These are some of the most important things. Again, you want to look for someone who's maybe a smaller or a boutique operation to where they're going to run with you for smaller production runs. Chances are, these huge manufacturers will want a minimum of a six-figure purchase order. Otherwise, they're just not going to help you. They're not going to believe in your brand. You have to work with someone who's trustworthy, reliable, and most importantly, actually communicates with you. I can tell you some of my experiences with these manufacturers who are on social media and they just don't fucking answer their text messages. You need to find someone who's you bond with, because at the end of the day, you are not going to work good with everybody, and relationships are so important with manufacturing. These are the people who are going to actually control your brand is production. They're going to make the product. At the end of the day, a good manufacturer will allow you to 10x your income, whereas a bad manufacturer will hold you back. They'll hold back everything. Now, the easiest way to find it is just literally searching your product in a generic term and adding private label manufacturer to the search. You can look at it in Google, contact brands. I like to get on the phone with them, get quotes, etc. And a lot of people, they always ask me, how do I know if I should manufacture my product in the United States or if I should go in China? And the answer is anything that goes in the body, like a consumable, something you eat, something that goes on the body, like a face wash or a moisturizer. These all must be manufactured in the United States. You can do it in China, but you're sacrificing quality. We're building a brand here at the end of the day. Quality is key. Now, anything that's a hard good, like say a mouse or a keyboard, that's gonna get manufactured in China. A big thing that ties into this is knowing your numbers. This is from my very first purchase order. You can see we had a 55% net profit margin after Amazon fees. After them. The software I'm using for this is called Seller Amp, if you guys want to go ahead and get it. So the numbers are very important. If anything, I would say raise this minimum profit margin to 60%. Don't be scared to ever have a higher price. My product is the most high price in the entire market on Amazon. We took the premium position and our price is going to reflect that as well. All of this is psychology. So now once you actually get the manufacturing in place, we're going to talk about off Amazon marketing, because at the end of the day, even if we're building a brand and it's primarily on Amazon, we are going to leverage things that are off of Amazon to still build a brand at the end of the day. The number one place to actually represent your brand aesthetic is Instagram. You could see, this is from Jocko Fuel's Instagram. The aesthetic is beautiful because if someone's going to buy your product, especially if you're priced high and you're positioned as a premium brand in the marketplace, they're going to look for your Instagram. They're going to look up the brand name. And as long as you look good, that's going to help you a lot. You don't need to do anything too crazy with it, but as long as you keep like a pretty consistent vibe and maybe you partner with some influencers who are in the ICP space, that will help you out a lot. Again, still images to help. Reels can help you with growth, but honestly, it's not the main lever. And then we could talk about TikTok Shop. So depending on what your product is, TikTok may be a good option. I always say if your product's priced below $50, or maybe it's something that's a hard good, it has a very high potential to do well on TikTok Shop. But again, if you're selling like a $300 vitamin, this is probably not the play. But there's so many levers that we can pull here, and this deserves to be an entire video of its own if I go in depth. We can pull affiliates, UGC creators, founder content, which is so powerful if you build your brand in public, and obviously AI videos as well. This is something that has dominated for me. Now, we could also talk about running your own website. This is something a lot of people get confused about. People try to launch the brand on Amazon. They try to launch it on TikTok Shop. They try to launch it on their own website, and they're running 6 different forms of marketing at the same time, but they never end up getting traction. And the reason why is because you're trying to master 6 different things at once. When we look at the Inc. 500 top entrepreneurs, they all have one source of income. And you may be asking, how the fuck does that even have anything to do with this? One source of income. Let's focus on one source of marketing primarily. It doesn't mean ignore and neglect Meta ads, Instagram, TikTok. It doesn't mean ignore it, but it means let's focus on one, dial it in while we keep these at a minimum and keep them for brand representation. And then once we scale to where we want to be, then we could transition into Meta ads and learn the skill. A lot of people come in, even if you got a lot of money and you got a big budget, you want to delegate someone to run your ads and delegate to a TikTok Shop manager. But every single time I've seen this happen, it never goes well, because if you don't learn the skill beforehand, and this is my personal opinion, but if you do not learn a skill yourself and you try to delegate it, you're gonna run into issues, because you're not gonna know if your management's even doing well if you can't run the skill yourself and you don't have a base understanding. So I say for your own website, it is really good for brand representation. You can make a simple Shopify website or outsource the creation of the Shopify website, but drive all of the sales to Amazon from that website. And now when we talk about actually selling on Amazon and the marketing flywheel on here, this is something that, again, it's going to deserve an entire video and an in-depth video. There's lots of ins and outs, do's and don'ts here, but the most important things that you need to know is that your first 3 to 6 months are everything. This is what's going to determine if your product will do well, if your product's not going to do well, and how far you can actually scale it. Because this is the Amazon marketing machine, which I'll show you right over here. If you can get this to spin, you're gonna have a winning product. Because as long as you activate it, again, it's gonna push the product to the right customer, and that's all that matters. Reviews are the key and the baseline of Amazon. Again, there's strong anti-manipulation policies. You can't sit here and fake your reviews. I can name people that have lost tens of millions of dollars just from faking reviews and just taking it way too far. Obviously, there are some loopholes that you can pull here, but if you don't know exactly what you're doing, I would not fuck around with reviews. Amazon's system is really strong. But at the end of the day, the reviews are gonna lead to a higher conversion rate, a lower sales rank, and that lower sales rank is gonna lead to your product being discovered by more people, popping up on more keywords, and ranking a lot higher. And if you can successfully trip it, again, you're gonna have a winner on Amazon. But it all comes down to the customer experience, which is your reviews. Now on Amazon, your listing is gonna be extremely important. There's a few key things we do here to make sure the listing is dominant. The first thing is the keyword research. This is a huge skill. Again, there's gonna be another video on keyword research in the nearby future, but you need a list, and I say at least 250, if not 500 keywords. And we're gonna use Helium 10's tools to actually create this. This is your competitors, unique phrases, and pretty much anything that is relevant to your product. So if we're launching, say, a hairbrush that like heats your hair while you brush it, and there's a keyword called like comb, obviously that's going to be a keyword. Or if there's a competitor's name, maybe they say Sally's hair, that's gonna go inside there. Anything semi-relevant. I don't need to dumb this down too far. If you guys are gonna launch a brand, you likely have money, you already have a successful business, or you have a high-paying job, and you're probably a pretty smart person. But the goal here, all in all, to sum this up, you just need to get everything relevant in one big list. We might not use everything right away, but this database is just gonna help you understand your niche hardcore, understand everything about it in the Amazon space, and we're gonna use it to craft all of these, writing and the copy. Because again, from this list, these are the questions that we can ask from here, and then again, we'll use that and the questions to craft these for the actual listing. Now the next most important thing is gonna be your actual images. They have to occupy the entire square. Like look at this over here. This is taking the entire square of Amazon, and we could look at some of these other brands like Sheer Strength. They showed all 3 sides of the product to stand out. Force Factor, they showed the gummies over here to stand out. But Nugenix and let's see the best setter, Prime Labs, they just take the full square. That's the key component that you need. Now, after that first main image, you're gonna get 5 more images and a video spot. All of these are going to get A/B tested, but if I just give you a basic framework that you can use to create these images, you wanna show the benefits, social proof, highlight you versus a competitor, and then you can also utilize a sub and save call to action in these images and just tell the brand story. But again, when we tell brand story, we want to make sure that it's focused on this brand story, not the brand story of why your brand is so cool. So let's go back down here. You can look at some of these images. You can see this is by Javi showing their ingredients, what they do. It's a beautiful image over here, and you could just see how clean everything is. Super thoughtful. This over here, they actually had Dr. Quotes who reviewed the product. Super fire. If you have a doctor, or maybe if you have an influencer that's really well known and they had a quote or maybe a social media post, you can use that for social proof. And then this is over here. Javi is obviously a protein iced coffee that comes in a packet. They compare it to mainstream coffee and then also protein drinks because this is a 2-in-1. It's actually a pretty cool product. Made me want to buy it just from seeing that image right now. Now, when we talk about A+ content, this is the images that are below the listing. So you can see this is the A+ premium content. And the most important thing is you can be aggressive. If you have keywords and maybe your product's in a category that has some restrictions, you can throw these keywords in here. Now, this again, they have to be eye-catching. You could be very heavy on social proof, and you just want to invoke super, super heavy FOMO, because if a customer is scrolling down here, they're on the edge of buying. Look at this. This is Javi's A+ content, just the bottom of it. They have an entire other half, but look how like clean it is. They have the social proof. They're showing actual visual images of everything. All in one product, you get hundreds. All of these words and everything that's included in the A+, it's there for a purpose. And once you have all of these things in place, you want to plan the launch, because the launch is key. Like I said, your first 90 to 180 days are everything for your Amazon product. Because at the end of the day, it's a game of traffic, conversion, and again, storytelling. There's a lot of do's and don'ts for the honeymoon period of when you actually launch this listing. There's a lot of data points that we need to track. PPC, again, it can't be ran until we have 10 reviews. But this is just the key. I'll give you a little sample of how it looks when you actually launch. For example, I like to break things down by days. Day 1, day 2, day 3, week 1, week 2. And we do this for the entire 180-day period just to know exactly everything we need to do. We'll set goals for reviews, and we'll set timestamps for what we need to get done. There's things like top reviews. There's things like promos we're gonna run. We're gonna do coupons. We're gonna do giveaways. We're gonna have affiliates. We're gonna have brand protection PPC. There's so many things that we need to do together to take advantage of this launch and to make it as powerful as we possibly can. Because if we fuck up this launch, it's gonna be very difficult to spin the flywheel by Amazon. The flywheel is over here. This flywheel is very, very difficult to spin outside of that 180-day window. So if we do this right, we have a winning brand. And this brand is gonna last us and win for years. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate it a lot because I'm gonna give pretty much all the free game away. I also do have a free community link down below. If you guys are looking to start your own brand or you're actively building a brand, you feel free to join. Ask any questions. I'm gonna be at full support, and I'm pretty much gonna give away the entire game and all of the sauce to build a $1 million Amazon brand. And I'm gonna share my journey of building my $1 million brand.